Hello, friends. Welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy, and I'm an ordained minister. We're in Bible study. We are in the NIV. In this video, we're in the book of Numbers. We're in chapter 31. It's a longer one, but we're going to do the whole thing. So let's jump in. Vengeance on the Midianites. The Lord said to Moses, "Take vengeance on the Midianites for the Israelites. After that, you will be gathered to your people." Which, he's going to pass away. So Moses said to the people, "Arm some of your men and go to war against the Midianites and carry out the Lord's vengeance on them. Send into battle 1,000 men from each of the tribes of Israel." So 12,000 armed men for battle, and 1,000 from each tribe were supplied from the clans of Israel. Moses sent them into battle, 1,000 from each tribe, along with Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the priest. Okay, who took with him articles from the sanctuary and trumpets for signaling. So when they say trumpets, to me, of course, a trumpet is a brass instrument because in modern day. But for them, trumpets, often the ram's horn. Often a ram's horn. So I'm wondering which one it was. I suspect it was probably the ram's horn. Those are very hard to play. They fought against Midian as the Lord commanded Moses, and killed every man. Among their victims were Evi, E-V-I, Rekem, R-E-K-E-M, Zur, Z-U-R, Hur, H-U-R, and Reba, R-E-B-A, the 5 kings of Midian. So all of those were gentlemen. Okay. They also killed Balaam, son of Beor, with the sword. The Israelites captured the Midianite women and children and took all the Midianite herds, flocks, and goods as plunder. They burned all the towns where the Midianites had settled, as well as their camps. They took all the plunder and spoils, including the people and animals, and brought the captive spoils and plunders to Moses and Eleazar the priest, and the Israelites assembled at their camp on the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from the Jericho. Jordan of Jericho, possibly an ancient term for the Jordan River, which has 2 giant fault lines on either side. So every time they describe something that sounds like an earthquake, it's not that it sounds like an earthquake, it's an earthquake. 2 giant fault lines. And mountains of salt with pockets of natural gas underneath. On fault lines. So yeah, giant bursts of flame at random that shock up. And don't just burn out, no matter what the fuel is underneath them, because the fuel is the natural gas from the pockets down beneath, which could be sparked by sandals, depending upon the material of the sandal. Moses, Eleazar the priest, and all the leaders of the community went to meet outside the camp. Moses was angry with the officers of the army, the commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds who returned from battle. "Have you allowed all the women to live?" he asked. They were the ones who followed Balaam's advice and were a means of turning the Israelites away from the Lord in what happened at Peor, so that the plague struck the Lord's people. "Now kill all of the boys and kill every woman who has slept with a man, but save for yourselves every girl who has never slept with a man. All of you who have killed anyone or touched anyone who was killed must stay outside the camp for 7 days. On the 3rd and 7th day, you must purify yourself and your captives. Purify every garment as everything, and as well as everything made of leather, goat hair, or wood. Then Eleazar the priest said to the soldiers who had gone into battle, "This is the requirement of the law that the Lord gave to Moses: gold, silver, bronze, iron, tin, lead, and everything else that can withstand fire must be put through the fire, and then it will be clean. But it must also be purified with the water of cleansing, and whatever cannot withstand fire must be put through that water. On the 7th day, wash your clothes, and you will be clean. Then you may come into camp." So, intimacy, sex, all right, is a soul-to-soul contract, not just a body-to-body contract. If they have never slept with anybody, their souls are pure, their bodies are pure. And then, of course, there's all the, inappropriate male thoughts that go with that as well. But they could be then re-sanctified, raised into, worship the living God, and not whatever demons they were, at least assuming they were worshiping. Dividing the spoils. The Lord said to Moses, "You and Eleazar the priest and the family heads of the community are all to count all the people and animals that were captured." I word it like that because I have no idea who they were worshiping, and I don't care really to know. I'm not really going to go, I'm not really going to go dig into that. So, divide the spoils between the soldiers who took part in the battle and the rest of the community. From the soldiers who fought in the battle, set apart as a tribute for the Lord, 1 out of every 500, whether persons, cattle, sheep, or goats. Take this tribute from their half share and give it to Eleazar the priest as the Lord's part. From the Israelites' half, select 1 out of every 50, whether person, cattle, donkey, sheep, goats, or other animals. Give them to the Levites, who are responsible for the care of the Lord's tabernacle. So that specifically would be like Moses' descendants. So Moses and Eleazar the priest did as the Lord commanded Moses. The plunder remaining from the spoils that the soldiers took was 675,000. Right, 675,000 sheep, 72,000 cattle, 61,000 donkeys, and 32,000 women who had never slept with a man. The half share of those who fought in the battle was 337,500. There I got it. 337,500 sheep, of which the tribute for the Lord was 675. 36,000 cattle, of which the tribute to the Lord was 72. 30,500 donkeys, which tribute to the Lord was 61. 16,000 people, of which the tribute to the Lord was 32. Moses gave the tribute to Eleazar the priest as the Lord's part, as the Lord commanded Moses. The half belongings to the Israelites, which Moses set apart from that of the fighting men, the community half, was the 337,500 sheep, 36,000 cattle, the 30,500 donkeys, and the 16,000 people. From the Israelites' half, Moses selected 1 out of every 50 persons and animals, as the Lord commanded, and gave them to the Levites, who were responsible for the care of the Lord's tabernacle. Then the officers, who were given over the units of the army, the commanders of thousands and the commanders of hundreds, went to Moses and said to him, "Your servants have counted the soldiers under command, and not one is missing. So we have brought as an offering to the Lord the gold articles each of us acquired: armlets, bracelets, signet rings, earrings, necklaces, to make atonement for ourselves before the Lord. Moses and Eleazar the priests accepted from them the gold, all the crafted articles, all the gold from the commanders of the thousands and the commanders of the hundreds. Then Moses and Eleazar presented as a gift to the Lord weighed 16,750 shekels, or that is about 420 pounds, or 190 kilograms. Each soldier had taken plunder for himself. Moses and Eleazar the priests accepted the gold from the commanders of the thousands and the commanders of the hundreds and brought it into the tent of meeting as a memorial for the Israelites before the Lord. So yeah, it's very curious. But with the anything with, like, I thought that at one point the Midianites were like Moses's wives were Midianites. So when exactly? But maybe that's because they worship the living God like he does, and these ones don't, because remember they did lead people astray, and that was about worshiping their gods and engaging, and of course in temple prostitution to their gods. So, and that's like, temple prostitution is a strict no. He doesn't, that's none of that going on there. Yes, be fruitful and multiply with your wife. Just in this time frame, they allow you to have more than one. But there are rules in there. Basically, some of their rules are is if you engage in intercourse with her, be prepared to support her for the rest of your existence. You can't just, even if they were a slave girl, you can't just toss them away. At no point. You do that, you are now responsible. They have to come into your care in a state of purity and leave in a state of purity if you don't want to pay for them for the rest of your life. Because marriage is meant, right? So, until the next video, friends.